Just a couple of best friends hanging out, best friends hanging out, best friends hanging out.
Yeah. Hello, friends. I'm sorry I took so long to record this podcast. I really pulled Karen Beaver there and fucking lagged hard on this pod. But I'm here. I'm drinking some Jefferson's Reserve. I know it's like 3:30 on a Friday. And some pamplemousse LaCroix. I think that's all French. Pamplemousse and LaCroix. Didn't take French in school. I took Italian. Can't remember one word of it, really. So I'm glad that I don't have to actually use that skill. I was pretty much just having to use it because there's a lot of music shit written in Italian. So for some reason, they just, for the curriculum, they make you take 3 years of a romantic language. French, I guess German's not romantic, it's pretty gnarly sounding, but Italian was one. And of course, nothing that could actually translate to a California resident like Spanish. Now I'm just speaking to Mexicans at restaurants in like Spangtalian. Is horrible. Anyway, first of all, I'd really want to say I appreciate Karen Grahl and Tyler Bacon for the Mandalorian podcast. That was awesome. It made me really want to watch the Mandalorian so I can know what the fuck you guys are talking about. That'd be great. I could tell that you guys were a little distracted, kept having to go back to the point. I mean, I'd feel distracted too if there was a giant Curtis orgy happening right next to me. I swear to God, all I could hear was Curtis and maybe multiple females, and then a little bit of Tyler Bacon. But again, I thank you. But seriously, where's Weaver? Where is he? Tyler just took his place. The network canceled Weaver, filled in Bacon like we wouldn't notice. Where's the body, Tyler? Where's Weaver's body, Tyler? The family needs to know, Tyler. But yeah, missing Weaver. Wish she would do the podcast. Work is crazy. Life is crazy. But the only way to pretend like you have a rival podcast is to actually have a rival podcast. So you got to keep doing it, dude. You got to buck up and figure it out. Because old Karen can only handle the load for so long. Because after this week, he will be almost as irrelevant as your playoff team. But he will still be relevant because he will be in the 4th place Fedora game, which, as we know, is probably our second favorite game of the year, behind only the Sacco game. This year is shaping up to not be too competitive of a Sacco game. Let's go ahead and look at Sean O'Malley's roster right now. Let's go. Charcula. All right, that matchup. Oh man, yeah. Before the ball has been snapped, he's a 28% underdog. Man, oh man, out Vance McDonald. Well, it's not like these guys, dude. AJ Green's been out. Ooh, DJ Chark out. That's bad. That's not good. All right, well, that's a tough one. Juju's been out. God, do you have Washington at least on? No. All right, not even a single. All right, you got the Boswell Bowl. You got Chris Boswell, so that's good. Yeah, you're going to get wrecked. Wrecked by Ebert, dude. He's got Mahomes, Cup, Debo all of a sudden on an uptick. Our favorite Jerichoing, Carlos Sutton, Weavering of his name. Saquads against Miami. Yeah. Mostert, who's all of a sudden resurgent. Or not resurgent, he's now the lead back against Atlanta. God, I was so glad Mostert wasn't in the Champions League. Sipping whiskey on y'all motherfuckers. Yeah, I always thought that what's his name? Darius Slayton. He always reminds me of that what is it? Darius Slay on maybe his first name's not Darius, but something Slay, the cornerback. Anyway, I'm still in my preamble here, so we'll get more deep into that matchup in a second. So my week, since I usually do this on Tuesday, the last weekend was great. Didn't really get to watch a ton of football. Honestly, I watched with Adam. That's right. That was a great time. We hung out at this cool little spot in Oakland. I forgot what it was called. It's like the Oakland Athletics Club or something like that, but it's not for literally the baseball team. It's just called that. We had a bunch of beer and watched the Niner Saints game, which was amazing. I don't know how you don't cover George Kittle on that 4th and 2. Doesn't really make sense. I don't think anyone else is going to kill you there. But they didn't, and Kittle had an incredible play, and I told Peebley when it happened that was, that was a tight end one type of play there, Peebley. So at least you got something that I actually care about, and that's the eye test, Peebley. Stop giving me these stats like yards per route run. Like if I run 2 routes and I get a pass for like 30 yards, that's a pretty damn good yard per pass run or route run, but it's still just a bullshit stat. You can't just cherry pick whatever stats you want and say that applies to Kittle because he's super dope. Look at everything. Look at the whole package, especially just the baseline shit like health, which he is a monster for playing through all this shit, receptions, targets, touchdowns, everything, just the basic shit. He's not leading in any category. So that's all my argument about Kittle. Anyway, moving on because no one wants to hear about that shit. Great time. I've been actually pretty busy working because I've been filling in for another teacher. So just day after day, 5-hour work days. Oh, kill me. Anyway, we played a show at the San Francisco Art and Chocolate Festival thing, and it was actually pretty fun. There were a lot of people cycling through. We got really good responses. A lot of Instagram ads that day, which, is always good to see. The good traction, a good metric for traction. Good fans added per view. Peebley, that'd be a Peebley stat. But I was unloading my car, like clearly parked in a place where maybe I shouldn't have been parked because there was supposed to be street sweeping after midnight. But it's midnight, it's late. We just played on a weeknight for free. And I'm loading my car up, and a parking cop pulls up behind me, and with me loading shit into my car, hands me a $80 parking ticket in San Francisco. That made me furious. I looked at her and I said, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" She just sped off. I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" I haven't been that mad in a long time. Just a real cold car ride home. No conversation was had. I just couldn't believe it. It was basically like some guy in a black ski mask just beat my ass and took money from me. It felt like the exact same feeling. When I was in Spain, I had a loose 50 euro note because my dad terrified me into to not carry my wallet around. So of course, instead of carrying a wallet, I had just loose money in my pocket. So I was all drunk and I reach into my pocket to grab just one of those €1 coins to buy a bottle of water to try to recover a little bit before I stumble back to the hostel. And a 50 euro note fell out of my pocket. And I turned around to go get it. And this giant African dude, literally from Africa, didn't really speak any English. It was like Spanish and some African language. Pretty gnarly looking dude. Really intense. Clearly impoverished. Kind of shoved me out of the way and grabbed it. And so I, did my thing. I was like, "Hey, man, give me that." Kind of followed him for a minute. And then he started, getting all intense, and I just bitched out, and I left. I felt all bad about it. Oh, man, I was so angry after that for, a week. And I hadn't felt this robbed since then. But I felt that robbed last night. What a fucking asshole. When I'm right there. Anyway, where was I? So, I also exonerated my disc chug. Admittedly, I only put one beer in there. It was a long day. I just wanted to do it. just one beer. And so I was feeling pretty good. I had a couple glasses of wine. The missus was sleeping. I was all by myself. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make this right. I want to expel any bad juju going into the playoffs. I need to get this playoff W. So I went ahead and poured some 805s in there, made a little video and did it, but I felt like the biggest alcoholic of all time. Let me tell you. Right when I was doing it and I realized that it was going to take 30 seconds, and then I really looked at myself objectively. I'm like, oh, I'm a 32-year-old chugging a disc in front of a phone at 12:45 on a weeknight. Didn't feel too good, but anything to expel the bad juju and to get this playoff W. Seems like it's on a pretty good trajectory right now with my boy Lamar putting up 37. What did Karen say in his podcast? He was like, oh, if Lamar scores between 25 or 27, I'm fucked. Well, he scored 37 on that ass or whatever. So hopefully you're still fucked. All right. So I thought it would be kind of a fun thing to do today to kind of talk about 10 memes, not like a literal meme, but just recurring themes. That's kind of what a meme is nowadays. Recurring themes in our league that we really like and that I really like that have happened either throughout this season or throughout our league history that I really like. So this is in no particular order. One is I think Adam has some superior GIF ability. We all have our moments with GIFing, but one consistently superior GIFer is definitely Adam. And generally when Adam starts GIFing, we all get to GIFing, and then next thing you know, you've got a pretty cool conversation, and then your day just flies by because you're in the middle of this hilarious GIF party that generally Adam is the king of. So 10 I have. Adam's superior GIFing is a great meme in our league. The next one seems pretty basic because we've been doing it for so long, but a good drinking snap. You love it. You got to see Colin in his realtor suit audition for the Addams Family. Maybe he was auditioning for court. Maybe he was playing like the redneck guy in a courtroom drama. Maybe he was auditioning for that role. You gotta find, Pa's suit and throw that old thing on and try to exonerate yourself. So that's just one of the many awesome things about these drinking snaps is you get to see what people are up to. You can see Bacon, all of a sudden he's in Dallas drinking at like 10:30 a.m. Red wine, by the way, at 10:30 a.m. Bold strategy, buddy. But, yeah, I love that. So 9, I have drinking snaps. Very cool. One of my personal favorite memes this year is Blair Witch Bacon, who kind of helped himself out with this last podcast. There were a few moments where he drifted. He started drifting towards the orgy away from the mic, but his conscience brought him back. And Blair Witch Bacon always cracks me up when he's just like, there he is in the corner, facing the corner. End of the movie. Credits roll. Is that real? Was that a real thing that happened? No, idiots, in 2000. It's a movie. That was one of those first movies, too, that people thought might have been a real documentary. Like one of those documentary-style things. Now everyone does that shit. So this isn't really a meme, but it's a really cool moment in this league. It's the old versus the new. In one side of the bracket, we have Pebbles and Bill, two year in, year out contenders. I feel like they're in the finals every other year. Definitely in the playoffs. So old contenders, old vets, grizzled vets battling it out. On the other side of the bracket, we got two new contenders, two guys who have never, ever been to the finals before. And we're trying to make our way. Some people haven't even won a playoff game. Some people can't stop winning fourth place. And so just this cool dynamic of old versus new in the playoff and the championship bracket, but that's not where it ends. There's a consolation bracket too. I'm pretty sure Evans never won the Sacco, but O'Malley has. So old versus new. The champion Sacco versus the new challenger for the Sacco. It's a really cool dynamic we have in this round of the playoffs. Either way, in the finals, we're going to get new blood. We're going to get a shot at a new name on the trophy. Either way. So that was number 7, old versus new. 6, this is a carryover from last season. Andrew Weaver really did a good job of carrying this tradition, and it's the toilet bowl shots. I don't think any one of us can wake up in the morning and get a snap. Oh, look, Frisbee touchdown group. Open it up, and it's Tyler Bacon drinking tequila out of a piss bowl. That is awesome every time. So I know O'Malley's being a little biatch about it, but it would be awesome if we keep that tradition going, figure it out. I don't care if it's beer. I don't care if it's Gatorade, whatever you have to do. Pedialyte, shoot something out of that toilet. Number 5 is Pebbles complaining all the way to the semis. I don't think anyone's buying the complaining. And this complaining didn't just start with Chris Carson being a piece of shit and Rashad Penny all of a sudden grumbling his way into the equation. No, this starts all the way back at the draft cave. This starts with Andrew Peebley. Oh, I can't believe he got picked right before me. Oh, shit, now what am I going to do? And then he goes back to his little draft den and figures it out, computes, runs a bunch of algorithms through Pro Football Focus, or looking at yards per route run, air time with the ball towards targeted route, whatever the fuck advanced stat you're looking at. The Pebbles complaining is always great. So, yeah, it started with the draft, and it's been nonstop since then. Should be the new drinking game, so I'll drink for that. The next one, number 4, is Colin's terrible team name, Games. So it all starts with a terrible team name like Allen of Troy, or I can't remember what the other one was, but they you know what I'm talking about. They're all bad. And then it's just a flurry of every single league member coming up with a better team name than Colin. Almost to a man, almost to every name that we come up with. So it's the most awesome thing. One of my favorites is just, the funniest was last time, we probably had like 70 team names, and everyone's getting likes here and there. No one's getting shit on. And then Colin comes up with an alternate name trying to jump in the game. Not a single like from anybody. So disrespectful. The next one is the podcast beef this year that's grown between they were calling themselves the People's Podcast, but pretty sure you need to podcast for the people to be the People's Podcast. In fact, you guys have podcasted so rarely recently that at one point I had produced 4 podcasts to your one in a 4-week period. So who's the real People's Podcast? I'm here week in and week out. I haven't missed a single one. I'm out here, baby. We out here. So our podcast beef has been a fun meme this year. I've had a good time with it. Coming up with your alter egos, talking shit about your pretender pod. And, you know, overall just having a better product, better theme song, and better consistency. So the podcast beef has been a great meme this year. Number 2, and this is really in no particular order. It's just the top 10 memes. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really want to order them. And that's, let's just say, ... very soon. That's been a great meme this year. I think it's people's favorite. Everyone loves seeing that. And it never gets done, right? Is that what it means? It doesn't happen? So that has been a great recurring theme of this year's season. And then finally, probably the most annoying but also kind of awesome meme this year has been Bill's Monday Night Miracles. I think he's had 3 pretty miracle-y victories on Monday night. Might have been more than that, but Bills Monday Night Miracles. So Bills MNF Miracles, let's just say very soon. The podcast beef, Colin's terrible team name games, Pebbles complaining all the way to the semis and starting with his draft den, toilet bowl shots, old versus new, Blair Witch Bacon, drinking snaps, and Adam Sapir giving. Everyone give themselves a hand. Thank you. It's been a good year, at least for me anyway. I really haven't had this success, but it's a redemption story, a redemption arc. So we're going to get right into the matchups now. There's a lot of irrelevancy now. Is that a word? Irrelevancy. Let's start with the most irrelevant matchup, and that is Weaver versus... No, it's Scott versus Bacon. Scott versus Bacon for sure. Scott projected to win 116-105. Tannehill has been a great pickup for him. I know I rode with him 1 week, and Weaver talked shit. Now all of a sudden, I think he's like the second or third best quarterback since he started. Edelman's questionable. He'll be fine. Adams, Diggs, all kind of a sneaky good, at least name-wise, a good wide receiver core for old Scotty. No, Joe Mixon has been such consistent trash. And by consistent trash, I mean you think he's complete trash, but really he's putting up quite a few points. But their team is trash. He doesn't look good when he's out there. It's just one of those things. Kenyon Drake is finally getting the run in Arizona. Look at this, 11-13. Not really what you want, though, 6-8. We'll see. Jared Cook with that incredible game, lost his elbows, concussion. But look at these points in the last 5 games. 10.4, 10.3, 18.9, 10, 19. Very consistent player. So all of a sudden, Scotty knows looking like he's gonna waltz into the what is this? The 6th place or whatever. Let's go to the actual bracket so I know what the fuck is going on here. Consolation. There we go. All right. So yeah, this is going for 7th. All right. So I got Scott's super shitty team in that one. And then in this other one, we have Weaver, who had a great game from Mark Ingram, doubled his projection, which is pretty good, against Ezekiel Saladil, who left 24 points on his bench. Not good, especially when your other guy is Larry Fitzgerald. Ugh, that's tough. Or Will Fuller 5. It's going to be tough for Adam to come back. He's 38% now. I would say... I was saying that Weaver had the best team before this. I know it's a little cheap to be like, oh, one player had a great team, I think, or a great game. I think he's going to win now. But to be fair, I said he did have the most disappointing team, and he did have the best team in the playoffs. So I have Weaver winning this one as well. So I have Weaver, and I have Scott in the irrelevant games to bring the ultimate grudge match of Scott versus Weaver, where Weaver has been, candidly unhappy with Scott's participation, which I think is fair because Scott, if you're listening to this, you got to participate more. That's the best part. That's the greatest part about this league. It's not just starting people. It's not just, spending some waiver budget. That's not what it is. The great thing about this league is that it keeps us all together, and we're all talking, and we're all in each other's lives. We have life updates and all this kind of shit. So that's why we want you to participate, because if you don't participate, then all of a sudden we just have, someone who we don't know anything about all of a sudden, even though we're all good friends, and we just that's not what the heart and soul of this league is. So Scott, got to step it up. So yeah, super grudge match versus awesome participation, occasional podcaster Aaron Weaver, and $100 waiver budget Scott Novum. That's what I got for the 7th place game. Now we have the next most irrelevant game. Maxwell Dunn Jr. versus Hawk and Cock. I've always thought that Hawk and Cock was a little pretendery. He kind of limped his way into the playoffs with a bunch of subpar games. And then last week just didn't do it. He had us for a second. It looked like Hockencock was going to he was so close to looking like he was going to upset Colin, and then it just didn't happen. At least early on it did. But yeah, I just don't like it. I mean, his team kind of went the way the Cowboys went, and when Detroit had Stafford for Galladay, that was a lot better too. Well, he's had some nice weeks though these last couple of weeks, but a 3 and an 8 point performance didn't help. And McLaurin has taken a huge step back, but he had a good game against Green Bay. Some great catches, some really intense touchdown reception. I remember that now. And then he's also rolling out O.J. Howard now, hoping that he can get some of that Kevin's runoff. But we'll see. But yeah, I think Max is too much. If Max actually cares, which it doesn't seem like he does anymore because he left. I love that OBJ's on his bench. Awesome. Yeah, I just have Max winning this game. So, in the next most irrelevant game, whatever the fuck this is, the 5th place game, I guess, I got Maxwell Dunn Jr. All right. Now, for the next one, we're going to do the Sacco Bowl. This one's pretty obvious here. Evan, we had a little bit of a debate who had the best team in the consolation bracket, who didn't have the bye, those 4 bottom teams. And we kind of argued back and forth. We agreed, Adam felt strongly that Evan was better than him. I felt that Adam was a little bit better than him, but since I didn't care that much, we kind of agreed that Evan was the best team in that bracket. But really, I can't remember who said it, but it's basically just who is going to get the privilege of delivering the toilet bowl to Sean personally. And that's what's going to happen in this game. Across the board, better matchups. Woods has been slightly better than Cup lately. Cup has had a couple good games in the past 2, but still consistently beaten out by Woods. So other than that, Brissett versus Mahomes. Mahomes is better. Cup versus Woods. It's kind of a toss-up. Miller versus Debo. Debo is better. He's starting to finally come into his own and playing really, really well. Look at this. 15, 17, 13, 13, 13. Really doing well. Cole Beasley versus our boy Carlos Sutton. Sutton's better. Sonny Michel is complete trash. Even Bill Simmons on his podcast, diehard Patriots fan, just talks about how shitty Sonny Michel is against Saquon Barkley, arguably one of the best running backs of this generation. I know he's only been in a few years, but when he's healthy, he looks every bit of that. Breida versus Mostert. Obviously, Mostert is the better player. I guess Higbee has been playing well, so maybe you might win this one, this Higbee-Doyle matchup. Doyle is, it looks like, just not a very good target floor. Definitely no run after the catch. You're kind of praying for a touchdown with that play. Higbee, I think he was like a blocking tight end for the longest. But now he's starting to get a little bit more target volume. Look at this, 6, 8, 11, 2 back-to-back 100-yard games. So, yeah, you got that matchup. And then we have Slayton versus Johnson. I mean, who knows which Johnson will show up. The minus 0.5 Johnson or the 12-point Johnson who, get some receptions, I guess. And then Philly versus New Orleans. I mean, there's kind of a toss-up there, too. So, pretty much you're going to need some massive help to win this one, Sean. And I think it'd be fun for Evan to win it because I think he would actually take toilet bowl shots every Sunday. He'd do it before mischief games. It would be sick. So, yeah, I've got Evan winning that one. So to recap, the consolation bracket, I've got Scott. I've got Evan winning, beating Sean to give him the Sacco. I've got Dunn. And I've got Weaver. Now to the championship bracket. We're going to go to straight Jameson with a gaudy 135 bush. That's a little too much if you ask me. And you have, I wouldn't be shocked if he got that, but to project that is pretty fucking ballsy. Sipping whiskey on y'all motherfucker. Then we have Pebbles, the Walrus, Goo Goo Gachoo. Let's guess who he'll complain most about. Ooh, Zach Pascal. I guess it has to be Chris Carson, who will be shut down by the sieve of a Carolina run defense. That's what's going to happen. Pebbles is going to complain about Carolina all of a sudden being a good defense. And that's what I see here. So we have Singletary, who's emerged as clearly the bell cow, 20 and then 8 for some reason against Cleveland, but 20 attempts, 15, 21, 14, 17. He's getting the volume, not getting the touchdowns. Only one touchdown in that span, but he's one touchdown away from, just because of his volume, his floor is already in the teens, so he's a touchdown away from being a 20-point player a week. Hollister has been really slipping off lately, but we know he's a potential. He at least has a decent floor, like 7 points. I guess 3 is pretty shitty, but still, averaging about. Let's do this podcast about 18 times 3. So he's about 5. He's 6 targets a game, pretty much. So that's not too bad. Christian McCaffrey against Seattle. I don't love this spot for him, but he's going to get his points. He's dropped off a little bit lately, but not by much. 13 and 19, just not hitting the 20s. He's bound to get back in there. And then the A.J. Brown, the sweepstakes went to you. He's had 22, 6, and 32. I didn't even go for him because I figured I couldn't. And I'm hoping someone big pops up this week and I can just blow my wad on him. But you got Jameis Winston against Detroit, Godwin against Detroit. That matchup is so juicy. Brown against Houston, Fournette against Oakland. For anything, it's just more your matchups that I like better than Pebbles, although he does have some tantalizing matchups like obviously Carson against Carolina. Golden Tate. How's Lockett been lately? Still trash, huh? 4.406. That could be a Pebbles complaining bullet point. Darren Waller has been awesome this year. Still getting great target volume. He's like a touchdown away from being that 17, 18 point player. I think this one's closer than the projections show. But I think Bill, by virtue of the matchups with his big dogs, takes this one and goes to the championship. Old Diamond Bill. So there you go, Diamond Bill. And poor Pebbles is just going to have to be. We built this city. We built this city in my drafting. Den. Bang, bang, bam, bam. That's going to be Pebbles. We built this shitty. All right, which brings to the main event here. The Fertile Oven versus Allen of Troy. Allen of Troy, whatever that means. Obviously, we all heard Grawl's take on Lamar Jackson, Manager of the Year, Stewart, which I'd like to say thank you, Yahoo, for naming me the Manager of the Year, and thank you, Karen and Tyler, for shining that light on me. It means a lot, and I really appreciate it, because I've never been anything of the year other than maybe color commentator, two-time drinking game champion, Hall of Fame champion. Other than that, haven't been the best in this league. So we got a Jackson 5 yesterday. It seemed like they were really piling it on. I thought they were about to pull the plug on him any minute. But 37.8 is what he shows up with. right after Karen was talking about how he can't, if he scores between, what was it, 27 or 35? I can't remember what it was exactly. He's fucked. Well, buddy, it's not looking good for you. I'm a 63% favorite. 137 live projection versus 122. We were dead even when it started. So I don't want to count my chickens before they are hatched, because Tyreek Hill could easily have a massive game against Denver. Chubb could go ape shit against Arizona. But again, just like the other side of the bracket, I think my matchups are just juicier. And it all started with Jackson against the New York Jets. I almost called them the New Jersey Jets. And Josh Allen against Pittsburgh, who has actually been pretty good against quarterbacks, believe it or not. They haven't given up. So the first 2 weeks against Tom Brady and Russell Wilson, they gave up 26 and 24. After that, they've only given up one 20-point game, and that was against Baker Mayfield. Other than that, it's been 9, 8, 10, 21, 3, 15, 11. Sure, these are scrubs, but even Lamar Jackson only put up 11 on them. So I just think it's not a good matchup for you, bud. And it looked like he kind of hurt his ankle or some shit last game. Who knows if that's lingering. But that matchup is not good. DJ Moore against Seattle, I think we're going to be getting beat. I think we need to... I know people can score on Seattle. So they've given up a lot of points to wide receivers. 12, 22, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. 13 to Laquan Treadwell. 14 to... 15 to Debo and Kendrick Bourne. Mike Evans got 30. Godwin got 10. They give up a lot of points to wide receivers. It seems like they like to shoot it out. So I could see DJ Moore having like 6 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown, something like that. Julio Jones is finally not questionable, so hopefully he's healthy. He's the 4th ranked wide receiver according to Roto World, which is cool. He'll have Richard Sherman sidelined, so it looks like he's going to have a lot of run against these Niners, and hopefully they're going to be slinging the ball around a lot because they're going to be behind a little bit. So DJ Moore, Julio Jones, great matchups for the game script against Amari Cooper, who, how has he been doing lately? Pretty well. I mean, he's going to get his for sure. He fucked me in the last game. I had a pretty solid hope going into Monday night in our last matchup, and then Amari Cooper just went off on me. So then after that, it's Sterling Shepard against Miami. I don't love Shepard, especially with Eli at quarterback, but if there's a team to get that, it's against Miami. Then you have Mike Williams against Minnesota. And Minnesota is a staunch defense. They're gonna hold you guys. So, yeah, I mean, they've given up a little bit to Dallas, but Tyreek Hill got his against them. I guess they have given up some huge points, but it's a little more few and far between. I like Minnesota's defense against the Clippers. Then Marlon Mack is kind of scary play for me. I don't really love that, especially against New Orleans. We'll see how that goes, but he'll probably get, his 15 to 20 touches and hopefully, fingers crossed, a touchdown. Against Nick Chubb against Arizona, that's your one spot that I'm like, ew, that's fucked. So you'll probably get a lot of points there. So I'm not really too stoked in that matchup. Then I have Gordon against Minnesota, which I don't love, but we'll see what happens there. He'll at least have the volume. Against Freeman against San Francisco, I don't think Freeman really does that much against them. He ran against the sieve of Carolina's defense, which is complete trash. Now, Zach Ertz, without any other wide receiver on the field, without any other tight end on the field, except for Goddard, I guess. Goddard kind of eats into his shit every once in a while, but everyone's injured on that team. Zach Ertz is finally getting that target. Look at these last 5 appearances, 11, 11, 14, 6, and then 13 targets. That's awesome. And he's scored 4 touchdowns in those games. So he's finally shaping up to be that player I drafted him as. And then we have White, and this is in the fertile oven himself, in the midst of Sonny Michel just looking like pure shit. He had 33 against Houston and 9 against Kansas City. So his floor is pretty much 9, 10 points. And if he gets a touchdown, all of a sudden he's at 17. So that's a great flex to have, a great floor to have. And I think he trots one in against Cincinnati. I do. against Adrian Peterson, who I don't love that you lucked yourself into Adrian Peterson, but he's playing against Philly. Philly has been, other than giving up a few, they don't really give up a lot of yards. Let's just put it that way. 66, 25, 20, and then Rashad Penny put up 129. But other than that, man, I guess Ezekiel Elliott put up 100. Those are the only 200-yard rushers they've allowed. So I think Adrian Peterson's no threat to catch the ball out of the backfield. I think they do better against Washington than we think. I think Adrian Peterson might trot one in, but I don't think he puts up a lot of yards. So I don't think he has like that 20-point ceiling. I think he's more like a 12-point guy in this matchup. Then we have Gould versus Robbie Gould against Zierlein. I like Zierlein against Dallas. I think that it's in a dome, so it's going to be a little bit more insulated there, and Dallas gives shit up. So there's that. And then there's Seattle against Carolina, and then Kansas City at Denver. Denver's actually been really fucking good lately offensively. So Kansas City, I could easily see them losing that game against Denver, at least giving up the spread. Seattle at Carolina. Carolina looks like they just given up at this point, so I see Seattle just wreaking havoc on them, maybe getting a touchdown, forced fumble, interceptions. I think it all happens. I think Seattle has a great game. I actually scoped them out a few weeks ago when I picked them up to see what their playoff schedule was. The playoff schedule is at Carolina and then home against Arizona. So I scooped them up just for the playoffs. We'll see if that pick pans out. But, of course, I have myself beating Alan of Troy, Karen of Gaul. And I think it's going to be closer than this 137-122. I think I'm going to be sweating it out. Do we have any Monday night fun? I have Marlon Mack on a Monday, so it might come down to that. We'll see. Alrighty, and I think that's pretty much it. I don't have much. I'm at 42 minutes. I only have a few minutes left before the network comes a knocking. But thank you guys. I'm sorry this took so long. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it's not too boring. And hopefully I get that W for the people. Because after all, I am the architect of the U. So a win for me is a win for everyone in the U. And everyone who has ever been in the U. So thank you, everyone. I know that I'm sitting here alone by myself, sipping on a whiskey soda. But if I close my eyes, I can picture me and Pebbly. Andrew Peebly, sitting in each other's draft dens, holding hands, holding thighs, and oh shit! I almost ended this. We have a mailbag. Sorry, network. Damn, that came real close. Got intense for a second there. Me talking about me and Peebly and fantasies and stuff. Let's go to these. Questions. This one's from Not Sean. Longtime listener and fan of the pod. I especially like the part where you completely destroy the other podcast and you're the most successful podcast out there. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. I don't know why you're helping them build exposure. It's not the greatest strategy. You're right. Based on my YouTube count, it seems like you've got at least double-digit listeners. Congrats on the growth. Who is your favorite Sacco in the league, and why is it Sean? I never said it was Sean. Weaver was my favorite Sacco. Weaver was the best Sacco in the history of this league. He took toilet bowl shots every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. And not like White Claw shots. He was taking tequila shots to the dome at 9 o'clock in the morning. So no, Weaver is my favorite Sacco of all time. You're just the most successful Sacco of all time. Now, if you were to do something to one-up the old Aaron Weaver toilet bowl shot game, then maybe you'd grow into that role. But thank you for the kind words, Sean. That was really nice of you. Not Sean. Sorry, not Sean. Then Andrew Peebly. I'm an OG listener of the pod. I've been subscribed since the beginning. I ask for a favor in return for my loyalty. Which 3 receivers should I start? Is there an option on the waiver wire I should consider Too bad I waited until after the trade deadline to try to trade one of my 5 startable RBs, given the dearth of talent in my wide receiver pool. Second question, can the Panthers win this week? I'll answer that one right now. Absolutely, they will not win this week. No chance they win this week. If they do, I'd be stoked because we've always had a little bit of a rivalry, the Panthers and the Seahawks. It seems like they're playing each other every year. They played each other in the playoffs. It's just been, for some reason, we always seem to bump up against the Seahawks in important games. So I would love it, but I don't think we do. It is in my best interest to help you win. So let's take a look at your team. Yahoo! All right. The Fertile Oven, Fantasy. What do you got, buddy? What you got? All right, bench players. So you're starting Pascal. I like it, especially with T.Y. out. Golden Tate, not sure I love it, but I don't love it. We'll see, though. All right. I like Eckler. I like Carson, who's going to be the bell cow now that Penny's out for the year. And Kamara, he should have a bounce-back week. All right. So you have Gage in Atlanta. I like Gage because Ridley went down, and Thielen is going to play. So I would start Thielen, and I like the game script for Gage. So definitely start Thielen over. I like the game script for both Tate and Pascal. I think the Colts will be more in the game than Golden Tate. They're against Miami. That should be an interesting game. But they have Eli Manning, so you're tied. If you have Golden Tate, you're tying yourself to Eli. I would get rid of him. I would put Thielen in that spot. And I honestly like both your bench guys, Thielen and Gage, over Golden Tate and Pascal. Let's see what Pascal's. Pascal's been getting great. No, you can't bench Pascal. So I would bench Golden Tate for Thielen is what I would do. That's my answer. And I hope you get the win, buddy. It'd be great to see you there. Turns out someone I know is getting married in the Oregon area, probably around May. So maybe I'll see you around then, buddy. All right. And when I do see you, I know I won't be alone because it'll just be you and me. And together we'll be a couple of best friends hanging out. Best friends.